Welcome to the Rivalry Bros podcast, where the Bulldogs and Rebels clash off the field, and two friends, Scott and John, turn their school pride into all-out sports banter. From football to baseball, hoops to headlines, if it's Mississippi State versus Ole Miss, we're talking about it. This episode is brought to you by our title sponsor, Southern Love Barbecue, where flavor comes first. John, how's it going today, man?
Man, it's going good, Scott. How you been?
Busy. It's been a busy week working, man, but I'm glad to be here tonight talking some ball, especially given everything that's happened. We got baseball season winding down, we got football recruiting heating up, portal classes, rankings starting to come out, schedule predictions happening. So it's gonna be it's getting about that time of year that's my favorite.
Man, we got football in 2 months. I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie.
I hear
I'm
you.
ready to
So
hear the Pats clash.
I hear you. I can't wait to be in the Junction, which is better than the Grove. So we know that cold chicken tenders and fake chandeliers is not my thing. So anyway, let's get into it with baseball. Quick wrap up here. So Mississippi State baseball finished up their portal class. We know the portal closed on Tuesday at midnight.
Yeah, we
Mississippi
had some drama
State,
right there.
it got a little hairy for both schools, I think. State
Yeah.
baseball for it's pretty much since last Thursday, rumors started hitting Twitter, the message boards, that Ace Reese, the star third baseman, that is going to be drafted at a very high pick in next year's draft, he was being pushed to enter the portal before that deadline closed. Now, if you remember, Mississippi State actually signed him to an NIL deal that was pretty lucrative when Brian O'Connor got hired at State, and that was pretty much his number one priority. It happened extremely fast. But LSU was known to be a player for a while, and there were some other schools making really big pushes to get him to enter the portal. But if he had entered the portal, the interesting thing is they would have had to report what they were paying him. Mississippi State did not. So it is said that he is going to be one of the highest paid college baseball players in the game next season. Ultimately, thank God he ended up staying with Mississippi State. We got through that situation just fine. Robbie Falk with On Three was on top of the whole thing the entire time. Stated that Brian O'Connor and State's entire coaching staff actually flew out to Cary, North Carolina, where Ace is playing for USA Baseball, and actually stayed up till the early morning hours speaking to him about his role at State, and ultimately that secured the deal to get him to come home. He got the lucrative deal from State before that settlement where you are forced to report the numbers, and he's got money, protection in the lineup for next year. And I think the main message was he can achieve all of his goals at State. He's easily a first rounder, and at this point, he may be looking at being a top 10 pick. So that is one of the biggest events of the week for State. I know you guys had some drama too.
Well, right before the portal hit at what it was 11:59 Monday night, right
Right.
before 12 a.m. on Tuesday.
Yep.
We had one of our. I guess he was projected to be he's really talented player. That he was going to stay, but he decided to leave. And I'm looking through it all, and it was Ethan Schuett. I'm not even going to try to produce his last name. He was an infielder, freshman, played in 11 games, batted like a 350, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, only struck out 7 times in his whole
Mm.
in his freshman year. And he was projected to be our leader in the infield next year. Of course, he hit the portal right at the last minute. Man, I'm gonna tell you, for our team, you're gonna see a whole different Ole Miss team next year. Whole different. We've lost so far, probably half of our team, just because Mike Bianco took a page out of Lane Kiffin's recruiting standpoint.
Do you
Went
think
and
all
got
those people were
mature,
asked to leave?
huh?
Do you think those people were asked to leave, or do you
No,
think
no.
they
These are all
left for
seniors.
money?
These are senior. These are all
Oh,
seniors.
okay. You guys were
Majority
turning
of
the
these players
roster
were
over
seniors,
anyway. Got you.
huh?
Y'all were turning the roster over anyway.
Yeah, most of these players
Okay.
that I'm speaking, or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 were seniors.
Mm.
Out of all everybody we lost, the so like Riley Maddox, for example, one of our leading pitchers, he's gone to the pros. Luke Chain, shortstop, consistent, good defensive player, decent bat, good plug in. Our whole outfield, Mitchell Stanford, Ryan Moorman, Isaac Humphrey. We were all three of the guys in the portal. They were all had 1 year left, trying to get a name for themselves. I believe they'll do well in the draft, but they're gone. Mason Nichols, our Sunday guy, he's gone, but he's going to pursue the draft. But I don't see him going very high. He's going to finish his degree out. Then you had like Connor Spencer. He's got he will be going into the combine. But who
So
I'm hoping to
can they
retain.
still come back? Can they
No,
come
none of
back if
these
they want
guys
to,
can
or is
come
it
back.
done?
They're all Riley and I believe Mason. No, they're all done. Only ones that can come back
Jeez.
that's hitting and that I know that are technically seniors would be Hunter, and only reason he's coming because they remember he redshirted last year. Well, technically 2 years ago now
Right.
because of his because of that surgery, Hunter
Right.
Elliott. But man, there's been talks that he has potential to come back, but he
That would
is
be big.
also projected as a top 5 player in the draft. If he gets
Yeah, he
drafted
was a
top
good one.
5, he will not be a back on the mound at Swayze.
I know I would be glad to see him go. Probably a lot of state fans would be glad to see him go as well because
Well, y'all don't like our lefties, do you? Y'all ain't never liked
the
them.
the chubby, slow left-handers is something y'all produce like a factory of every season, and they are all really good every time. That's
They
what I
get you
don't
on that off
understand.
speed, don't you?
Who was the one before Hunter Elliott? Looked
Doug
just like
McKenzie.
him. To me, those guys
Doug
are
McKenzie.
twins.
And he just got called up to the Cleveland Guardians. He is going to be pitching his first MLB debut soon.
Well, you're talking about everybody Ole Miss has lost. Our biggest thing was keeping Ace Reese, but we actually had a good week picking people up. On Monday, we picked up Rice's Davion Hickson, freshman pitcher, sits 94, 95 with some incredible breaking stuff. One of the top pitchers that was left in the portal to get him to come to state, paired with the Virginia players that Brian O'Connor brought, and keeping Ace Reese, it's really shaping up. And then on Wednesday, State got a last minute surprise with the portal, getting the 10th ranked player from Bryant, and that's shortstop Drew Wires. He was the America East Player of the Year. His batting average for the season was 407 with 11 home runs. So after losing Sawyer Reeves, who was our shortstop this year, after his senior year, there is no way State was going to rely on Dylan Cupp, given his numerous errors in the field, and I don't know if his batting average ever got above 200. There was no way that was going to be. There's no way that was going to be our starting shortstop next year. So we had to find one somewhere, and I mean, really, I don't think anybody knew this was coming. So the hope is if the America East Conference equals Player of the Year and a 407 batting average, the hope is that we could at least get a 275 average out of him in the SEC versus SEC pitching. But
I mean, that's going to be
sometimes it
asking a
works.
lot, but
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's a lot of different pitching styles there. But overall, after those two, State already had it. But after those two commits this week and keeping Ace Reese, State has continued to have the number one overall transfer portal class in the country, according to 64 Analytics. Now, transfer portal class is one thing, but they even broke it down and re-ranked everybody by quality, and that is how many top 250 commits we had. And on that, State was at number 2. So you talk about one of the biggest moments in school history across
y'all need
all
to soak this
sports.
up because this ain't never going to happen again.
It has to be hiring Brian O'Connor. I mean, without question, this dude came in and immediately changed the landscape. So expectations next year for baseball are extremely high in his first year, and I think a lot of that has to do with the portal. Win now, there's no excuse not to when you can plug and play whoever you want. So he's already proven he's an elite recruiter. We knew that about him anyway. The staff he brought with him has that reputation. So, in my opinion, hosting in Starkville next year has to
It's
be
got to
the
be a
minimum
must.
expectation. It's got to be the minimum. And then there's
All
people
right, so
already
let me
talking
ask you
about booking
this,
rooms
Scott.
in Omaha. So,
Let me throw this point out to you. Y'all do
okay.
all this.
Yep.
All this happens. You get to the baseball season of 2026. And y'all, everything, of course your non-conference is going to go good, but then your conference. And you know just as well as I do, regardless who we root for, who we both hate, the SEC schedule in baseball is a gauntlet. Period.
Usually.
All right, what if it doesn't mix? What if it doesn't jive? What if y'all don't host? What if y'all go, say
Mm,
500 next year in SEC play? Where
well,
do you
that's
stand then?
where I think it's a win-win situation, honestly, because even though you have the portal, even though you have high expectations and you really want to win right now, and you, especially having the resources at state, you can win immediately. But
Oh
there is
yes,
a built-in situation there where if it does go poorly, all Brian O'Connor has to say is, "Come on, it's my first year here. We're getting our culture built. We're changing the culture. We're changing
oh he's
teams.
got a
We've got all
free
these new
pass
players."
regardless.
He's a free pass regardless. It can only be good this upcoming year. I don't think. Listen, there was so
There's only
many
one way it's
people.
bad. There's only
There
one
was
way it's bad
if
for y'all.
we don't make the postseason, that would be bad. But Brian O'Connor is not in any danger whatsoever. He names his price every year and he leaves on his terms. I will tell you that right now. There are so many
Oh,
people that wanted Chris Lemonis gone. Chris Lemonis could have made the postseason this year, and there would have been people clamoring for his firing because they were just honestly tired of seeing the same stuff year after year for 7 seasons, the same base running mistakes, the same defensive errors, the same mental mistakes, the same offensive approach year after year after year, no matter who we were trying to hit against. People just, I think, had some fatigue around Lemonis' style of play. And the whole time, you're sitting here knowing you've got the best resources, you've got the best, you've really got the
the
chance to
best,
have the
but
best recruits, and then you got Tennessee up the road. And what I heard from fans all year was, man, if we had a coach that had the attitude of you're not better than us, no matter who you are, like Tony Vitello has, with the resources that you can have at state, my God, what would that look like as a program? And that's what people are hungry for. And I think Brian O'Connor gives you as close to Tony Vitello from a success standpoint as we're going to get at Mississippi State. I mean, 18 of 22 years taking Virginia to the postseason, and how many times did State have to go play in a regional or a super regional that was being hosted by Virginia? If State's on the road, for the postseason, they're either going one of 3 places: Florida State, Vanderbilt, or Virginia, every single time. So I just, I'm excited. There's a lot of excitement around, and I like baseball more anyway. I wish baseball season started tomorrow, to be honest with you. I love football, but I am so excited for baseball season to see Mississippi State get back to being competitive like they should be the entire time. And we just have not seen that for 3 out of the last 4 years, maybe 4 out of the last 5.
I
So
was
there's a
I
lot of
was going
excitement there, and I'm ready, man.
I was going to add to you, man. Y'all could have won Omaha. Y'all could have won the whole thing last year. And y'all probably still would have fired Lamonis. Y'all
That's
could have
what
won
that's
the
what I'm
whole thing.
saying. There were fans that just were not going to be happy with Chris Lemonis regardless, because people were just tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's just, sometimes when you're there for a long time, that's how it is. But to be honest, I think he kind of made his own bed If you watch some of the games the year after we won the title, I think you could go back now in retrospect and see a lot of situations that he was not coaching as hard as he had trying to win that first national title. I think he
Man,
got
you
a
could
little
just
bit
tell at the end
easy.
he just didn't care anymore. Like
I
he
mean,
was
it's
hearing that
honestly like, hey,
outside noise.
I won the first title in school history. I'm safe. No one's going to touch me. And he found out real fast that
They're
he
only gonna
just
get you so
raised
long.
he raised expectations for a program who already had extremely high expectations, and he raised them even more, and he didn't live up to them, plain and simple. So Brian O'Connor's a guy that embraces the intensity. He's an intense guy, and I am absolutely excited. I'm probably more excited that we got him now as when we got Mike Leach in football,
That was
because I
my
had
next
always
comparison
wanted
to
Mike
you.
Leach. What goes better with bold opinions and brotherly smack talk than bold, smoky flavor straight from the heart of the South? Southern Love Barbecue brings you the taste of tradition with our signature original rub, a handcrafted blend of spices that's been passed around family cookouts, the backyard grills long before it picked up a few trophies along the way. This is the flavor that turns ribs into rituals, wings into weekends, and brisket into a whole event. And now, thanks to the Rivalry Bros podcast, you can get a special discount just for being part of the crew. Mention Rivalry Bros when you order, and we'll show you some Southern love at checkout. From one passion to another, whether it's sports or fire-grilled flavor, Southern Love Barbecue, where flavor comes first. Well, and again, I was so excited, but at the same time, um, just being honest, I don't know if I expected him to be able to do what he did at Mississippi State in football. Mississippi State football is one of those that's just like always want to be good and everything, and you know, there's people that are tired of, oh, can we just beat Alabama in the regular season? Well, if you look at the program from a historical standpoint, that's kind of all you got. You've made one SEC championship, and it was in the 90s. So, you know, and then what happened since then? Hardly nothing. So, I I was extremely excited when Leach came because he had the reputation. He was the best football coach we'd ever hired as a sitting Power 5 head coach. We hadn't hired one of those maybe ever, or maybe since the 60s or 70s. And then John Cohen just drops a bomb and surprises everybody. It's probably the only good thing he did as athletic director at Mississippi State. But I was really excited, and I think, unfortunately, the year that Leach died, I think the projections were for State to have that 9 or 10 win season, and him
That was gonna be
to
y'all's
do.
year.
He was going to do exactly what he did at Texas Tech, exactly what he did at Washington State. There was no reason for him. There was no reason for people to think he wasn't going to do the same thing. He made a living, a Hall of Fame career off of elevating the smaller programs with less money than everybody. And God knows Mississippi State's been one of those. So him passing away really hit me because it was like, man, we're right there. We're going to have something good. And then God's just like, no, you're not. Back to the
Back to
cellar,
square one. You go.
you know. So I was pissed off when he died because it's like, Jesus Christ, what the hell else do we have to do to have fun during football season? That's the same during baseball season. We know baseball was supposed to be good, and they weren't. They sucked, and even the lightest baseball fans would tell you over the last 4 and 5 years that was not Mississippi State baseball. Plain and simple, it was simply not acceptable given the resources that our program has and the history that it has. Football's a different story. Now we've got Jeff Levy, who was y'all's offensive coordinator when y'all were. I mean,
He
how
was
high was he under Hugh Freeze or Lane Kiffin when he first got there?
He was Lane. Lane brought him. He was the first. He did the first 2 years as an OC under Lane.
I mean, you guys killed it under him, though. I mean, he was
We did.
he had the top offense in
and
the
I wish he'd
country,
have
or top
stayed.
5
I
at
still
least.
wish. He was top. It was the top 10 both years, and I wish he'd have stayed. But I understand why he left us to go to Oklahoma when he did.
Yeah,
But
yeah. He
then
kind
I
of had
understand
to at
why
that
he left
point.
his alma mater. Huh?
He kind of
Huh?
had to at that point. He didn't have a choice.
Well, I mean, we couldn't offer him. I think he was going to make like 1.2 million.
Right.
No, he was like he was going to be one of the most high paid OCs and basically have the full keys. He controlled that offense when he
When
was
he
over there.
went to when he left Ole Miss and went to Oklahoma in the same position, was Oklahoma already in the SEC, or had they announced that they were joining
Mm,
the SEC?
they were announced. They had not. I don't think they had jumped because last year was the first year.
Okay.
And he was with y'all, so
Part of me figures that he might have went to Oklahoma for a little bit. You know, that flashier offensive style that the Big 12 used to play, that Oklahoma was still in, and Texas and all that. So, you know, we have him now. Everybody was excited when we got him because he's that young coach, got some swag about him. Again, an offensive coach. Um, so people were excited when he got hired, and I think he is safe too. Honestly, 2-10 last year, he got dealt a god awful hand from the administration. The roster was just absolute dog crap, and he had nothing to work with. And I think you saw flashes from some young players, and look, he was willing to play true freshman all over the field.
I mean he did,
That's
didn't
how
he?
bad the roster situation
When y'all's
was.
quarterback went down,
Exactly. So as far as state
he
football
figured out he
goes,
left.
right now, you know, Phil Steele has been doing it for my entire life, honestly, ranking teams and all that. And he ranked state schedule for 2025 as the toughest in the SEC and the second toughest in the country. Now, you guys, state over the last several years, they have had the hardest schedule in the conference. They've had top five toughest schedules in the country. That just seems to be the way of life now for Mississippi State football. Meanwhile, you guys are sitting there with Lane Kiffin. Y'all just came off what, 10, 11 wins last year or the year before?
If you count the bowl win, it was 11 back to back
Sky
win
again,
11 wins.
sky high expectations. You know, the portal master in Lane Kiffin, high octane offense. You guys are coming off really good years under Kiffin, and you have the 15th out of 16th ranked schedule in the SEC in terms of toughness, and 48th in the country. I mean, just fucking give yourself milk and cookies. I mean, God, what do we
Well, if you
have
want
to
to look
do
at
to get
something,
your schedule?
well, if you want to look at it, then this is you got to look at it like this, Scott. If you in the top 10, seven of the toughest schedules are SEC teams. 7 out of the top 10.
Well, that's always going to be the
Guess how?
case.
Well, you guess how many out of those teams we play?
Not as tough as we
We
do,
play,
obviously.
no. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. Listen to me. We play 6 out of the top 7 with the top schedules. You know why? So we're playing teams like you guys. This go to this bottom feeders. That's what lowers our schedule down. We are the reason why y'all schedule so high because y'all play us, and we are a top tier team.
Oh, okay. I think the
So
reason our schedule's so high is because we play four playoff teams from a year ago.
and we were potential playoff teams.
No,
Florida's got a
no,
top tier schedule.
no,
They
no.
play us.
I,
Y'all play us.
I said four playoff teams from a year ago. You guys were not one of those teams from a year
We were
ago.
potential playoff teams.
Potential ain't getting it
Couldn't
done,
have
big
made
dog. Potential don't mean you're in the dance.
it. The potential. But if you look at the out of those seven, we play 6 of them. So we make y'all schedule up higher. Just be thankful you're playing us. We make your schedule look better.
So
Y'all don't. We don't get that from y'all.
here's the thing though. When I look at the schedules, when I saw the rankings, you know, it hit me. State seems to always have an incredibly hard schedule. Whether we're good, whether we're bad, it doesn't seem like you're given ever the benefit of the doubt. And so I got to looking. And according to team rankings, Mississippi State has been in the top 40 in schedule toughness 9 out of the last 10 years. That's top 40 in the country. It's already hard for state. And, part of it is our own doing. We can't do anything about, um, you know, it's already
Schedule
hard.
better.
It's hard for state with the inconsistency of coaches over the last 10 years and coaching staffs. But the scheduling does not do us any favors ever. Like I said, we're going to play 2024 college football playoff teams. They're all now. The difference is those 4 games are all in Starkville this upcoming season.
All right, well, let's save this for next week as we break down both teams' football schedules for the next season. Thank y'all for listening to the Rivalry Roast podcast. Like and subscribe wherever y'all listen to your podcast. And thanks again to Southern Loves Barbecue. See y'all next time.